Bob said, I'm from Birmingham, so I apologise for the horrible accent. Anyone here heard of Camelot before they got the invitation to that? Just pop your hand up. Apart from the lottery, apart from King Arthur, it's quite a few, so marketing's getting out there, word's getting out. Which is good, because as you'll see when the slides start, we were established 1993. So we've been beating the Camelot drum for quite some time now, but when we speak to clients, they often say, well, that's new, that's innovative. But it actually isn't. It's now very solid, and in the marketplace it's working well. 17 offices, 6 countries, 5 offices now in the UK. Turnover figures are there for interest to you. Expected growth figures, which in a recession is quite phenomenal. But that really is a sad reflection of what's happening, isn't it? Because there are more empty buildings, because of repossessions, because of businesses closing, homeowners having to move out. And it's a sad fact, but it does mean that our business model is growing in a recession. So that's fantastic for Camelot, and obviously a good way you can protect your buildings. 200 employees, and we are the market leader throughout the UK and Europe. But just at this point, just a quick test of human nature. If you've got an impossible problem, a real difficult problem, and someone comes along and says to you, I've got the perfect solution for you, what do you say? Great, give it to me. Normally you would say, what's the catch? And that's human nature for you, isn't it? People think like that, I think like that. What's the catch? And the great thing is that when we make our presentations to clients, they almost always say, what's the catch? Now that tells us that we've got the perfect solution for your impossible problem, vacant property. And hopefully with the presentation today we'll show you that, and then you can add on the information that you'll hear through our other guest speakers, how it relates to the Camelot solution. So what do we offer as a vacant property specialist? Well, our niche product is the Living Guardian product. That's having someone come to live in a vacant property that is a Camelot Guardian. Not our employees, they're members of the public like you and I, will see that a little later on. We also offer management and maintenance of the property. Make space pay, which you'll hear about, so we won't dwell on too much. Workspace, similar. Traditional security, if you don't like the innovation of guardianship, then traditional security, every type of security you want, alarms, stealing of the building, 24-hour guards, patrols, we still do that as well. So you can come to us for a one-stop shop. And now we have our insurance solution product and our energy scans, which we'll touch on briefly in the presentation. Now, if you'd like any information outside of this short presentation, then we've got 2 stands set up, as you'll probably have noticed, for Make Space Pay and Facilities Management. And there's a number of Camelot staff here that will happily talk to you in depth about any product for your building. Quality standards we like to mention early on, because we're very proud of these. We hold, if you notice here, Camelot Property Management is the only Living Guardian company to offer these standards. ISO 9001-2008 accreditation, that reflects key holding and Guardian vetting. Now you'll hear perhaps other Guardian companies that have copied our business model over time say to you, well, you don't need these standards, you don't need the Security Industry Authority, the SIA standard. You don't need that particular key holding standard. But you actually do in law. We can give you those pieces of information to check that out. It does mean that you're assured of a quality company. You've all seen the advert for, is it Aldi? I like these, but I also like these. Yeah? Now maybe if you went and you had your tin of HB or Heinz baked beans, and then you've got your tin of Aldi ones, a few pennies, well, yeah, you might think, well, I'll take a few pennies. But what's interesting is that despite this accreditation, which costs money to maintain as your accreditations in your roles and your companies cost, we're still willing to offer you the same price as the competitors. So you no longer have to say, well, I'll have the few pencils to make do. You can have the quality. and still get that service for the same price that you pay anywhere else in the market. So that's something that we're very proud of, and you do need it by law. If anything happened to your building and the company that you're using doesn't hold these standards, many 24-hour guardian companies have been fined, pursued and sued, and insurance companies have failed to pay out on buildings that didn't have this accreditation. So you put yourself at risk if you don't use a company with that quality. So what are the risks? Squatters, theft, fly tipping, vandalism. And of course, now that we'll touch on later too, but squatting, now that residentially that's become quite tight and solid under law, where have all the squatters gone to? Commercial buildings. And many of you will have commercial buildings. And so more so than ever now is the time to look at protecting your commercial buildings, because the squatters will utilise them. Criminal risks, metal theft, in particular in the Midlands and West region, we're seeing that a lot, where lead and copper, because of its price, is being stripped out of buildings. And of course, with that comes water and flooding. Arson, vandalism, graffiti, fly tipping, travellers, which our licence also helps protect against. You may want to talk to us in depth about that. Illegal raves and squatting. Technical risk, well, if your lead and copper is stolen out, you're going to have water ingress, then your building is going to become affected from that. So certainly worth thinking on that. Overdue maintenance, dilapidation. With people living in the property as guardians, you've got a first point of call to say, well, there's a leak, or something's happened here, or there's an electrical socket that's faulty. So before it turns into a major problem for your building, you've got eyes on the ground that react to it and report it, as we'll see. Economic risk. Under insurance, depreciation, saleability of your building is compromised. Who wants to invest in a building? And you've seen them, maybe you own some, and you know that's understandable at this time because who's got money to invest? But you walk into a building, windows are all smashed through, stuff's being ripped out, and so on. It's going to cost a fortune to get right before someone wants to consider letting or buying that building. Of course, planning development can be affected, particularly if you've got squatters on site. One client that we worked for in the London area, we offered an offer. This was about 5 years ago, and the client said, well, this is a bit new, this is innovative, we're not sure what to do with it. They've got squatters in their property, and it took them £25,000 several months to get them out and get the building ready. They decided not to go with Camelot because it was just too new, even though we've been doing it 15 years. What they did was put a security guard on the front door. Now someone on the black market sold the keys to that building back to the squatters who let themselves in the back of a huge building after £25,000 in several months. What did they do straight away? Signed with Camelot, we organised the bailiffs, got them out, put the guardians in. No squatters' rights anymore. So we urge you to think on that. Oh, just going back, empty business rates. I won't touch on it too deeply because I think that's covered later for us, but we can really help you mitigate and work with those empty business rates issues that we've got. Social risks, particularly here if you're an authority, local authority, council, and you've got to obviously make reports on buildings you own and void, vacant. You have a magnet for troublemakers. As soon as the youth see boarding going up or stealing on a building, it's like, wow, we can get in there, nobody can see what we're doing. A couple of buildings that we viewed for clients that had been boarded, people had dug through the roof to get inside the building, taken tiles off, dug through the roof, and there they worked quite happily stripping copper for days and days because nobody could see what they're doing because of the boarding. It doesn't work, but it's still done at almost every vacant building we see. One-stop solution, as we said, tailored advice for your building. And because we've got that one-stop solution, we can fit a product to your particular building, your particular issues. Make a bespoke solution for you. So who are our living guardians? Well, in this picture, these are actually two of our guardians. You'll see a few more as the presentation goes on. Key workers, temporary occupants. We have doctors, we have nurses, we have policemen, firemen. We have members of the public like you and I. have to be working professionals, so that there's no homeless situation, there's no DSS situation, there's no children. But members of the public, fully vetted, that offer a quick solution, place in your building to live for a period of time, make a habitable space for it. Cost savings in comparison to traditional methods of security. Well, they're phenomenal, we'll see them a little bit later. But two typical guardians. Victoria Marshall, she's a nurse, and this picture here, well, you can't quite see it, it's not a wide picture. That's a mansion in Surrey. And if you're a fan of the Avengers, when they filmed the Avengers, this was Steed's study that she sat in. And she was able to live there as a Camelot guardian. Fantastic building. Mike Clark, sports instructor. And of course, guardians will move around properties for us. So if it goes back, we have another property that we can move them into. Without Camelot, well, your property may look like these, and maybe you've got one like it, and you've seen them, where we've followed in squatters, and there's excrement on the wall, there's blood on the wall, we've got to do deep clean. In one building in the Netherlands, we actually had a dead person in the building when we took it over. No one knew they were there. And so they spotted drug habits had formed, so even a drug production factory had formed, and there's a dead person there for weeks, I think it was. So without Camelot. With Camelot, these are the same properties, exactly the same properties. But look at the difference, having it protected. Camelot solution, we call this out 3 E's: effective, economic, easy. And we'll look at them in a little bit more detail. Effective, well, the property is in permanent use. It's not left to go mouldy, dilapidated or anything like that. It's kept in good use. The message to the community, they see lights going on around the building, they see cars coming, guardians going about their daily work. We'll put several guardians in, maybe on shift patterns to make sure vulnerable times are covered. And the perception to the community is people are in there, they're using this building. No squatters' rights anymore. If you do get squatters, then the interim possession order trips in. I think it's about 24 hours, and we can apply a license to that and get squatters out. It's that simple. They care for the property like it's their own home. They live there, they're happy to keep it tidy, clean the communal parts, and they want to make a good impression because they want to live there as long as they can, but then they'll move to another property, and if they live well for Camelot, we're happy to relocate them. It's easy. Flexible security solutions. So simple that we could have a guardian in a building if it's ready to go within a matter of hours. Hand back of that building, just 3 weeks' notice. So you haven't got to think, well, there's time here, it's a tenancy. It's not a tenancy, it's a license under English law. It's completely different. So 3 weeks' notice, the building's cleaned back to you, tidy, on Monday morning. Permanent access. Our license for the guardians is non-exclusive occupation. And that means that there's no rights of tenure, that you, as the client, don't have to act like a landlord. It's not Landlord and Tenant Act. So you can access that building whenever you wish. You don't even have to give notice, although we do ask you to because it's their home. So if you could let us know, that's fine. They can just have a look, tidy up, put their underwear away, whatever it is. But you can actually go with your keys, open that building, walk around at any time you like. It's non-exclusive occupation. You'll get a monthly report sent directly to you to say what's happening with your building, any issues, if you want us to look at fixing them through our facilities management side. You also have a line that 24-hour incidents are reported to, and any technical details, issues or repairs are dealt with immediately. And you can do that in a couple of ways without going too deeply into detail. You can give us your phone number to say, wake me up at 3 in the morning if I've got a broken window, or call these people, or spend £300 on my behalf in any one incident, or whatever it is. So there's a host of ways we can make sure those incidents are resolved. You've also got a web portal, which you'll see, that you can see your building at any time, all the correspondence that relates to it, and any issues, and the people that work on your building and look after your guardians. It's economic. Permanent protection for less than the cost of conventional security methods. So it mentions here protection of an average 100,000 square foot site, 10 doors, 100 windows. If you were boarding that up or putting a security patrol or 24-hour guard on there, incredible prices. Look at the difference. in price from 2,375 per week, depending on what solution you have with traditional, 0 to 350 per week with Camelot. Now that 0 is of interest to you, so come and speak to us about your property and see if we can get you a 0 on your quote. This is an interesting chart. You may not be able to see it at the back, but you're looking at 24-hour security guard over monthly cost, 1 year site protection, 24-hour security guard, 24-hour monitored alarm, boarding and site-ex patrols. If you can't see the figures, it doesn't matter. All I want you to concentrate on is that tiny box there. That's Camelot. That's the cost comparison. And this just isn't headline rates. This is realistic, achievable costs for your building. Now, who doesn't want to save that amount of money, particularly in a recession, double recessions, triple, who knows? Oh, no, we don't. Okay. So, that's the realistic cost. What do we want from your building? Now, you may be surprised because a lot of clients say to us, well, my building's not quite suitable. It doesn't have X bedrooms, it doesn't have this, we haven't got a lounge, we haven't got... We've taken on, as you'll see in a while, empty warehouses. And all we ask is that it's wind, watertight, with an electrical and cold water supply. It's as simple as that. We'll change the locks for you, repair any entrances or replace broken windows that are insecure, put bins on site. And this one in particular, I don't think the picture quality is so good, but you might see some mobile shower unit that we pop in. All we need is a water feed to it. If you've had all your pipe work ripped out, fine. We'll just put in a poly feed from the main source to it. So don't think that it has to be a home before you can give your building to Camelot Guardians. We will create a livable space, even putting in pump toilets or whatever it be, kitchen units, to make the place habitable. We install the Camelot safety packs with each Guardian, not at your cost, theirs, and fire extinguisher, fire blanket, smoke alarm. So it really is a cost-effective solution to protect your building for the minimal cost possible. On top of that, over the time that we've had building, we've naturally evolved a facilities management team. It started off obviously just fixing small problems, broken windows, little leaks here and there. But we very soon found that if the client could come to us for everything, then it simplifies the deal for you. Everything's all in one place. So you don't have to go searching, I need a plumber, I need this, I need that. And our business is about guardianship. That's our niche product. We're not out to make money horrendously from the facilities management of your building. We want to look after it for you. We'll make a reasonable profit with your agreement. But we can now offer you every service that you can get at any other facilities management company. Energy scans, new product for us, came a year and a half ago. And this is particularly beneficial. We've saved some clients already quite a lot of money on buildings where they've just got stuff running they don't know about. If you walk into your building, just stand and have a listen and hear how many electrical hums are going around that building. What's causing that? What's generating that? Do you know? Can we shut it down for you? Can we check the consumption on your bill is correct? Can we check that the tariff on your bill is correct for you? Can we change that? Make it more economic? Check the accuracy of the bills. And then look at also the energy loss of your building. What type of windows do you have? What type of ceiling tiles, doors, etc. So we can look to see what we can reduce for you. Now the cost of an energy scan may only be a couple of £100. And if you have the works done with Camelot, we'll refund that cost back to you. So it's going to save you money regardless, isn't it? If you look at it that way. So again, speak to our facilities management team about energy scans. Get a little bit more detail. Decants. We've had some very large properties and we've successfully run them, managed them well, whereby obviously we'll move guardians in as the tenants move out. And so no property, no flat in any particular building is left empty for any particular time. And as soon as we know that that project is coming up, tenant comes out, guardian goes in immediately. Then at the notice of the client, short term, few weeks, we're ready to develop or whatever, guardians come out. So We can organise that for you as well. That's a project that we have. Make space pay. We don't just look to save you money on your building. We'd like to find out, can we earn you some money on your building? And I don't want to really cut across Lucy's presentation later on, but you'll see that whether it's the large posters, filming in properties, training in properties, we've earned clients really good money. Some of the main TV advertisements that you'll see on television, are you using those in your presentation? You are, won't go into it. You'll see a really benefit. So look out for that later. Workspace, again with Lucy. Flexible office space. So if you've got a big building, you can't let a whole floor. Could Camelot take over the management for you of letting desk space as startups in a building and earning you some money back? We've done that successfully for a number of clients. They can't let a whole floor or a whole building. We've been able to let small parts and areas whilst protecting it with a Camelot solution, earning you some money back. So again, talk to us on our Mag Space Pay team on that basis. And an important one, of course, offsetting the empty business rates, which you'll hear a lot about later on. Traditional security, again we do it, controls, man guards, alarms, garlic alarms, steel boarding, even the laser alarms around buildings, we do all of that. So if you need it, fine, but if you'd like to be innovative, you're going to save yourself a lot of money. Think if you can use guardianship. We'll certainly come and have a look for you and confirm that. Another product we brought out about a year and a half ago, day and night guards. Now, this is an alternative to 24-hour security. If you're putting a security guard in, you might be paying about £15 an hour. We've come up with a solution where we use our guardians that may be living in one unit in your building or transferring from another unit for a particular schedule of time, 12 hours, whatever it be. And that works out about, fraction of the cost. It's about 30% of the cost to have night-and-day watch with guardians looking after the building instead of security guards. That's a different way. Rather than having them live there, that's them spending time in on a shift. So again, talk to us about that. Camelot Property Insurance, low-cost premiums if you use guardians in your building. We've got specialised premiums for you with guardian occupation of your building. That will save you money on your current insurance. If you don't have guardians in your building, you just want to insure it with us, again, we can do that. We can facilitate that for you. And covers all risks, so it's a fantastic policy. We'll talk to you about that in detail if you wish. Just really a couple of client slides now from my area. Birmingham City Council. Is anybody from Birmingham City Council here? That's good. I didn't expect that. I can say what I like. So this one is Sutton Town Hall, and we've been looking after it for a little while now. It's a listed building. It's about 3 times the size of that. Comes to somewhere here. And although it says 2 guardians here, it should be 12. That's my mistake. Sorry. We've got 12 guardians living there, listed building, and Sutton, if you know it, in the Midlands, is the upper end, upper market of property. So a very prestigious area, and this building, this listed building, is very well known. It's the Town Hall and Council House that stands right in the centre of town. The neighbours, when it was closing, got really upset. Well, you know, what's going to happen to this wonderful building? What are you going to do? Are you going to steal it? We don't want to see that. So we worked with the neighbours and the council. We put a package together to make sure that we'd occupy the building and that we'd occupy it with local residents of that area that may be looking for a home. Maybe children leaving home from their parents that are now 18, 19, 20, moving in there, or nurses and doctors coming into the area on internships are occupying that building. So, lovely prestigious building, and it's working well. Now they've been a client with us for a few years now, and over that period of time, they've saved several £100,000 on their security solution with the buildings they've given us. That's a realistic figure, and I can show that to you. Several £100,000 on what they were spending. Who wouldn't want to save that on their budget? Now you may only have one building, it might be small, you'll still save, but when you're looking on that scale of things, we know the pressures that councils are under. Why not just switch straight away? I was talking to someone from Sheffield Council at one of the university lectures, and he said one of his portions of security budget was £400,000. And just in speaking with him, we could immediately switch and we reduce it down to 100,000. immediately. And that wasn't our cost, that was still cost, we just couldn't get away at the moment. So, can you see why at the outset I said human nature, here's the perfect solution for you. What are people saying? Where's the catch? Well, I don't know. It's a win-win-win situation. Camelot gets a small percentage from you, the clients, the profit, get a small percentage from the guardian, we're happy. Guardian gets a cheap place to live, he's happy. You, the client, get a zero to a small amount management fee, are you happy? Win-win-win situation. Another one from Birmingham City Council. This was the former municipal bank, and that was opened as a municipal bank, open, not built, for the First World War. And it's a fantastic building inside. It's got huge signs on the wall. One of them says, "Thrift is king." That's pertinent for our day, wasn't it, today as well? And it's a wonderful building. Downstairs, huge vaults, and you know the small locker boxes that you see in Swiss banks? Thousands of them down in the vaults. They filmed an episode of The Hustle, if you ever see the one where he's picking locks in them. That's where they filmed it. And the producer wanted to get the feel of these vaults, and he said, "Shut me in. I'd like to go in the vault, just close the door, shut me in, I'll get the ambience of the place." They shut the door and they couldn't get it back on. He was in there for 7 hours. You think he had the feel of the place? He was in there, and all it was, the lock was fine, but it was so tight, they had to get a little screwdriver and just continually wedge the door up until it popped open. But 7 hours later, he came out and he was ready to produce. I don't know what, but it was producing. So it's secured now. We've got guardians living in parts of the building. Just before we took occupation, sadly, someone broke in. Huge, wonderful brass staircases that sweep up. We're all chopped out, ground out, only on the back of the van and away. Now, that building stood empty for 2 years before we got in. They'd still be there if we weren't. That's a sad fact, but nevertheless, it's being protected now. This one's quite interesting. We've only got the internal parts of a warehouse in Birmingham project. And like we say, we can make any building habitable. We can put in even partition walls to make a bedroom, a toilet area, shower room, and we did that with a building in Birmingham. And we put that in. The Guardian has a huge gymnasium in there now, a little area to play tennis and badminton. But what was interesting about this building, on the first day that I went to look at it for the client, as we do, we take pictures all around the building. And so from the outside, I'm walking along taking pictures. And I came to the corner of the building. There were 10 guys around the corner of the building, drug dealing, and me with my camera. I made a quick exit. And we had, obviously, Guardians lined up ready for the next day. When we went with the Guardians, the same guys approached us. And they said, "Look, this is our patch, we're such and such a gang. We need you to be away from here now." This building has stood empty for 2.5 years. And every tenant that went to view it had been told the same thing. If you move in, we'll trash you, trash the place, trash your belongings. This is our patch. It was evidently a very big drug dealing place, and people knew it. Traffic was constant to deal in drugs. So what we did, we liaised with the police, with the council, and we chopped all of the hedges down to ground level around the building. So it was a high visibility area straight away. We recommended 2 or 3 other solutions, and we went and spoke directly with the drug dealers and just explained the situation, what we were doing, the people were now going to be living here. It helped that we had our 2 Guardians were both bouncers from a local nightclub and looked tasty, so it helped that they had a bit of wits about them. But they now occupy that building and do it fantastically. And the drug dealers have gone away, they've found somewhere else. But now, the council are able to show clients around that building, they think they've got a potential sale or let. That's after 2.5 years of all those threats happening. So, a lot of solutions that we can offer and look at to make buildings secure. So if you're looking for a vacant property solution, don't ask where's the catch, ask where's the pen, just sign. And thank you for your attention, and I'll hand back to Bob.
Okay, thank you. We would like to make this into an interactive session and give you the opportunity to ask questions after every presentation. We've got hand mics and our staff is willing to come to you and hand you the mic if you've got any questions. So, is there anyone that wants to pop a question to Paul Cosnett? Sir.
Well, tell us if this is going to be covered later on more elaborately. But two questions, there's two parts to this question really, in regard to guardian occupation. First of all, have councils ever been awkward because of the change of use to residential from commercial? And secondly, most commercial leases will have a preclusion for residential, even though for the council or for the landlord, it's in their interest as much as it is for the occupier, previous occupier, should we say. Have you ever had problems with that, and how do you get around it?
It's a good question. We pretty much have that every workshop seminar. Let me stand up so yeah, it's a good question. What we say straight away is that under law, our services are considered ancillary to the use of the building. We're a security solution. We're not residential. On that basis, there's no change of use or planning required. We've got a number of decisions from various councils and higher up that we can send to you if you ever have that problem, and we'll deal with it for you in honesty if it's raised as a question. We send back our barristers' opinions and our other decisions to say, no, we're ancillary to the use of the building. And that works for both issues. So when councils have raised it as a question, we very quickly had it answered, and they've all written back and said, thank you, that answers it for us. No change of use, and preclusion under commercial licence doesn't apply. Again, we're there on a licence from Camelot, not tenancy, so we're not considered residential, but a security temporary solution ancillary to the use of the building. So we can send some more detail to you or anybody else that wants it. You can have a look at leisure. But yeah, we found that and we've worked through it, got a solution.